it's one of the coolest cities I've been to. Like, I don't give a shit about the crime and all that
Wow.
crap. Like, the music, the
Yeah.
food, the ambiance, just like,
Yeah.
there's just
Yeah.
something so incredible about it, you know? And like, you,
Yeah.
you've always stuck in my head as like the artist that's very into details. Like, you're a very intricate artist. And like, that's like, okay,
Oh, thank you.
that's like, no, it's not common.
That's
It's
nice.
not. Like, there are artists that like are intricate
That's nice.
and shit, but like you've always been like a different level of that shit.
Thank you. I mean, thank you for the attention
That's
to detail. There we go. That's my
right
response
on the
to that. That's very
point.
sweet of you to say.
Mm.
Yeah. I have my coffee here. Yeah.
I keep on forgetting it's like
It'll
3 hours earlier by you, so it's like technically still morning.
Well, no, it's 1:30. It's 1:30 here, so like this is I just want more coffee. I'm a little bit of an addict, I have to say. I make my coffee in a little AeroPress. Have you heard of these?
No.
Yeah, they're like amazing. It's like great for traveling too, but you put the coffee in here, and I do kind of like a mix of a drip method and the press method. And so I leave the coffee in. I grind my coffee. I buy whole bean, only whole bean. I get like the darkest
Okay,
coffee
of
possible.
course.
I grind it, I put it in here, I mix it with the hot water. I have my kettle. I don't use like microwaves or anything crazy. Some people microwave shit, and
No,
it's like, no, that's not how you do
no.
things. And so, I just let it drip I let it kind of like all drip out through the coffee. And then I put another bit of water all the way to the top, and put this, it's like a two-piece thing and then you press it down. That's what I was doing. If you watch the video, you'll see me kind of like pressing
My
something. That's
thrust.
literally what I was just doing. So I am a coffee lunatic. I'm an addict to coffee,
You
and I make pretty good coffee. I have
don't make half-ass
to
coffee.
say,
You make good
good
coffee.
coffee. Good
You
coffee.
make good
Yeah,
coffee.
I make good coffee. Yeah, yeah. There's a reason I'm addicted. Okay, it's very good. And how have you been?
I oof.
Because you moved,
No.
right? You just
Well, I
moved.
moved to Boca. I was living in Fort
Okay.
Lauderdale. I'm planning on leaving at the end of the year. It seems like Colorado, but I'm not sure yet. Like, I'm trying to keep my options open with.
You're going to move.
Yeah, I need like, don't get me wrong, like,
A refresh.
I mean, Florida has been really good to me, but like,
Mm. There's an amazing underground scene in Florida, and I think that's what keeps people like us there. Like we find people that are like us, and we realize like, there's a lot of cool things to it, but unfortunately, like how I saw it is like there's no infrastructure in the city to support
no.
that so that it thrives and it grows and it becomes like a part of the city. Like I feel like, for example, I grew up in Miami Beach all my life, and so like I'm a Miami guy. And It's just, there's the venues all closed. There's nowhere to play. Everything's a house show. Cops show up. It's like it's a negative cycle, unfortunately, because there is an industry in Miami, but it's Latin. It's a Latin industry.
I know.
And then you have like the other people that seem to do well that are not part of that industry are like the very heavy crowd, like, like kind of like hardcore and like more shoegazy hardcore stuff. Because we have the prince of the underground living there, Iggy Pop. He owns Sweat Records, and so he loves Miami and he lives in Miami, and so I think through him there's like this whole mechanism of like a dark movement here that's been here for a long time, but he's kind of like the underground prince. I actually got to see him at Three Points when he
He's
performed. It was amazing. I mean, he's like a rock gremlin.
he,
He is scary.
he's
He's
he's a
perfect.
he,
Perfect. I love him.
he is just though a crazy motherfucker. Okay, for people that are listening, all right, and don't know who
Yeah.
Iggy Pop is, all right. Iggy Pop is the OG, the Stooges, all right. This is the motherfucker that has peed on his audience. He's vomited on his audience. He's cut himself
Yeah.
in front of his audience, and he has shat on stage multiple times. Not just once,
Yeah.
multiple times. So he's the type of person that's just like, like he's the elite of artists. Like he's the most insane and crazy, and like he
Yeah.
hasn't calmed down.
Yeah.
Okay, like the cocaine has kind of
No,
slowed down a little.
he is the
He's the
same.
same.
Yeah,
He's the same motherfucker from
he's the
'79.
same. Yeah, I mean it's amazing how he's, he stayed true to himself, and I think what he does for, like, for example, he gave a nod to Palomino Blonde, and not to say that's the only reason that they're successful, but I mean I think he was a huge help. He played them on his station on BBC. He had as he has like a radio station where he gives he shouts out artists and stuff like that. So he's listening, he's around, he's involved in the scene. I think he's an amazing example of what you want to be as an artist, kind of like yourself and successful and, giving back. I mean, I think that's, because no one makes it anywhere by themselves. They always have people that are supporting them and, pushing them up. And I think that's the right attitude to have, that, you got to give back when it's smiling on you.
It is. I think we talked about this before, where I personally feel that when David Bowie died, there
Mm,
was a death that happened, because when David Bowie, people don't know this, but when David Bowie was alive, he used to donate a lot of money into the artist sector,
mm,
like specifically into schools,
mm,
to projects in different communities. I don't know exactly where the locations were, but that's what he did a lot of his life. Like he was constantly giving back to the artist community. And I think what's happened is,
mm,
right, you've had these legacy artists, because they're legacy artists. They've been in the industry for 40, 50 plus years. And they've been able to establish and build communities that they're in. But what's happened is that the city around them or the communities have rotted and decayed. So,
mm,
the same idea, right? Like people are like, okay, Joe Rogan lives in Austin. Let me move to Austin so I can like become famous. You see what I mean? That's the same kind of mentality. It's
mm,
like
mm,
everybody moved to
mm.
Austin because Joe Rogan's living there. Like everybody, let's move to Miami because you got the whole Latin EDM community. You got Iggy Pop. You got all this shit.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
I will say the DJs or the EDM cats, they're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even to the detriment of the local scene in Miami. I don't live there anymore, so I can talk shit. I just
You live a
think,
little further away than
basically
Miami.
all I jumped the whole. You're gonna have to come across the whole country to get up in my face about this. But I think, spaces that should be preserved for artists, and basically a lot allowing for artists to be performing, are being, basically the artist is getting stabbed in the back because the DJ is just way cheaper, and so instead of basically contributing money and injecting money into the scene so that artists can continue to perform, they're just like, you know what, whatever. And I don't even blame all of these business owners, because it's so expensive out there to have a place, and what they need are customers. And Miami, unfortunately, people don't go to Miami to go to a local bar and check out music. They just don't. They go there to shake their ass and be on the beach and shake their ass on the beach, and they want club music, and they want to party, they want to do drugs, that are not, like chill drugs. They want to be like having a crazy time. And there is that energy, I think, that people miss out on at local shows, but it's different. And I feel like, you know, Miami's in a weird place, most definitely. And, I think one of the first things I noticed out here in LA, for one, it's massive.
It is.
And two, it's massive. You just keep driving and it's still LA. But I think like the other thing is just the amount of venues. Just there's so many venues, and people go out. It's not like Miami, the scene. No offense, Miami, but there's like 300, 400 people that you see at every show, pretty much. Like it's like there's like the usual suspects. Out here, man, there's so many people, and the chance of running into the same person at two different shows a few weeks after is very
Very,
little, very
very, very.
very slight.
And one thing
Um,
I remember
yeah,
also with LA, I don't know if you experienced this yet, is the go-go dancing scene that exists in LA. So this is very unique to the West
you'll have
Coast.
to you'll have to recommend
Okay,
you have to
I didn't
recommend
know
because I
this, but
haven't seen that.
they have this in West Hollywood and that area, like Silver
Uh-huh,
Lakes,
uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
kind of going towards like Koreatown, like kind of going toward downtown. Go-go
Mm-hmm.
dancers, go-go dancers are basically like exotic dancers, but they work in these clubs, and then they have these local artists that come in and then they do their own sets. So they have them like on
Mm.
pedestals, they'll have them like walking around. Dude, it feels like the 1960s met 2010. And it just
Mm.
like it looked like one
Okay.
of those stores, like with the glass windows in the front. Like you got a like a regular like
Mm.
CVS, and then it's just like then in the windows and you hear like unce unce dan and
Dancing. Yeah.
there's like the lights shining everywhere. You're like, what the? Yeah, and it's like a specific like LA thing, and it was just like there's so much shit. There's that, and then there's another place like 2 blocks down that are doing a whole different thing that's going on there. Like
Yeah.
you try to find that in places like Atlanta or Miami. I doubt you're going to find that because
Mm.
everything
Yeah.
is just like you said. It's like,
It's much smaller. You might find it, but it's not like it is here
no,
that you can find it. You can keep finding that kind these like pockets of like fun things to do, you know. I live for local shows, so for me it's been amazing. I got this ad for this thing called Do LA, which I think is like it must be like this like secret thing that like I don't know how how they decide who they show this ad to and who it signs up, but I spend like $7 a month to go to. I get like free tickets to two or so shows a month. And I basically I'm finding out about different venues. I'm finding artists. I mean, I think most of the shows I've gone to so far have been pretty cool, and I've learned about some really interesting artists, and I live for that stuff. And out here, it's like that. There's a whole scene for that, just going out and finding bands and people care, and I I dig that. I will say I just moved here in November, so it's 7 months I've been out here, which is not that long. You really think about it, and I'm just barely starting to settle in. But I'm liking the change. The weather's amazing. It's like, it's hot still sometimes, but the nights are cool and the air is
I
cool
know.
always.
You
It's
always have
very
to have a
different
sweater.
desert, more
You always
desert
have to have a
weather.
sweater in your car.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
desert weather. Yeah, totally, totally. And I love that, honestly, personally. I really like that. I didn't like sweating in Miami. I'm not into the Miami summer.
Oh, no. It's hell.
Probably, and it's like 10 months of the year like that.
It is.
I like to say Miami has different shades of summer.
When we say shades, we mean different shades of heat. So it goes from like 98 to 99, then 100, then 101, and
Yeah.
102, and then goes back to 98. Those are the
Yeah.
shades.
Yeah, and then we have 2 weeks of winter. We have 2 weeks of winter, and then it's summer again.
Oh my God. It's weird because like I'm originally from New York, and New York is like a completely different
Mm.
scene. You know, the way that New York works, it's very
Yeah.
clicky in the sense where if you go into the city and you don't know locals, you're gonna go to all the
Mm.
touristy places because the way that they designed it is like if you're a tourist, they figure out ways of getting you into and you'll know if you're in a tourist area because if you're in a non-tourist area in New York,
Mhm.
they're bitching at you, they're slurring, they're throwing shit at you, they're telling you to go fuck yourself in the ass. Like that's how you know you're in a non-tourist area, ladies and gentlemen. That's New York.
Uh,
But New Yorkers have that kind of bitterness where they're really nasty and horrible to artists, but in a sense, it's like to kind of get you to be better,
mm.
so that when you do start
Mm.
performing better and you're getting better at your craft, like there's more respect. But it's just that like that shitty beginning of like, yeah, fuckface. Like, what are you
Mm.
doing here with your
Mm.
stupid Yamaha guitar, you motherfucker?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to New York a few times, but I've never really like. I feel like when you live somewhere, you really pick up on
Oh
different things.
yes,
But I've heard, I've definitely heard that it's like it's very cutthroat in New York. But how I've broken it down is like like I compare it to Miami, for example, because I grew up there. Because yeah, like now I'm out here, and it's West Coast versus East Coast, which I hear there is like East Coast, they're a little less friendly. Like West Coast, everyone out here super friendly, like maybe they won't be your friends for life, but they'll have a chat with you, you'll approach them in a bar and you'll just chat and it's like they're friendly and I don't mind. That's fine. I don't need like a new lifelong friend. I just want to talk sometimes too. That's cool. But in Miami, it's kind of like this thing where it's like I call it like superstar syndrome kind of because it's like people their attitude is kind of like why are you talking to me? What do you want? That's the attitude I get from people in Miami. At least I don't know if it's all of South Florida,
No,
but
I
Miami is
think
very
I think New
True
Yorkers
Beach
have
is
a
very
lot to
much like
blame
that.
with that. To be honest, like
Yeah, because it's that East Coast. Because New Yorkers, but the thing is, I feel like people say that New Yorkers, you dig in, and they're really kind
hmm
people once you get through that really horrible wall of like,
really thick,
hey, fuck
horrible
you, fuck
wall.
face,
Like
get the fuck
it's
out
like
the
10
street.
feet thick. Yeah,
But once you get through
yeah.
that, they're like good people, and like they love community and they care, and they just have this harsh exterior. But I guess my joke is like in Miami, people will have this harsh exterior. You dig through that,
It's just shallow.
it's not great.
It's just an empty
It's just
onion.
worse. It just gets
Yeah, it's
worse.
like you're watching Shrek. Instead of
It's
peeling
an
onions of
empty
layers,
onion.
it's
Yeah,
just empty. It's just a hollow dome. You're like, what?
yeah. It's just a glass. It's a glass onion to quote John Lennon, right? That's Lennon. I think
Yeah.
Lennon made
Oh
that
my god,
song.
what
Yeah, yeah.
the
Glass onion, man. Because yeah, there's
fuck?
nothing inside the skin.
Well, you know what though? It's
So
kind of
yeah.
a
Mm,
plague in its effect, and it's not just like we've been talking just back and forth like communities that we know, but this has basically riddled a lot of communities across the United States in the sense where if we're talking about the artist, if we're talking about the underground scene, whether we realize this or not, we all love entertainment. We all love different forms of entertainment. Like I don't know how many people that cannot put up their hand right now and say that they hate practically every single movie that's been coming out, every single song that's been coming. Like, it's just boring. It's like
yeah.
vanilla ice all over,
Mm,
baby. Like, nah, nah, nah.
mm,
Okay?
yeah.
I don't want vanilla ice
I do
2.0.
think.
No.
I mean, I think a lot of it is that for one, everything is getting more expensive. Two, people aren't really purchasing like the way people consume media has changed so
I
much.
know.
And like so these major companies that used to make millions and billions of dollars, off of direct sales, now they have to deal with a fraction of that in streaming, right? And so, now it's just impossible for a major label to, in the case of music, sorry,
No, you're okay.
burp there, my bad. In the case of a major label, like before they were selling, merch and CDs and stuff like that, and now it's like then it became like really only merch is what you're selling to people because and now things like Live Nation and Ticketmaster, they basically are digging into the money, the last money that people were making in music, which is from merch. Now they're also digging into that through fees and merch fees and percentage of the merch. It's disgusting. And so I think these major companies, I get back to the point is that these major companies are struggling just as much as musician, maybe not just as much, but in the sense that like these big CEOs, for example, that are making hundreds of millions of dollars a year, maybe that's the problem. Maybe you shouldn't be paying people that much money for this company isn't worth what it used to be. And but they're dinosaurs, man. These like Universal, for example, they're a major company. How are you going to tell them that they have to stop existing? They're going to be like, nah. And they're going to try everything they can to make sure that that doesn't
No,
happen. But in the end, there's no money. There's no
no, but
money.
like,
There's really no
the
money.
crazy part though is with
Yeah.
ticket pricing. Like I've been following along, like even
Yeah.
with Youngblood, and he was talking about this where he was trying to get his venues to be cheaper by basically doing the
Mm,
venue through him instead of going through a third party. And you know
mm,
what? Like I'm gonna be honest, it's crazy. Where it costs
mm.
34, sometimes even like $200 to $300, and you know what? Like, I get it. Like, people need to be making money, but like at the same time, have we not forgotten our parents or family members that talked about going to AC/DC concerts, talked about going to Metallica, seeing Black Sabbath when they were teenagers and
Mm.
had no money?
They could go for $10, $15. I mean, even today, it's not as expensive as like, you see Taylor Swift tickets for $700 and you're like in the nosebleed, you know? Like that's crazy. Super crazy. I mean, I really just think it's it's a last grasp at people trying to make money in a system that is not, that is kind of failing because people don't go out as much because they have an entire world in their devices,
We work
and
too much too.
you don't need, you could live stream. Yeah, we work too much. I think we're not making enough
No,
money, and every day that dollar is being devalued right now every day. So it's like, most people are really, really struggling, and these big businesses, they just are taking advantage. Honestly, like Ticketmaster, Live Nation, fuck you guys. Honestly, fuck you guys. I mean, I don't. I maybe one day I'll regret saying that in a podcast, but
I don't think
you
you
guys are
will.
evil. You're honestly
I
evil
don't think you.
people. You're taking advantage of some of the most vulnerable people, which is like musicians. I think a huge problem, for example, like why legislators haven't really caught up with what Spotify is doing, which I want to talk about that in a
Oh yeah,
second, but
please.
like, and what like Ticketmaster is doing and stuff like that. But like, I think for one, like it's this concept that, oh, you're not making money as a musician. Duh, of course you're not. You're a musician. It's like, but it's like, yes, but it used to be way more than now. Like now, there's really no money, even for successful musicians. That like, I've seen the story about a girl that she got 1 million or 50 million plays or something like that, like millions on one song, and she made like a few $1,000s, and then that was the only song that really took off, and now she's like she still needs another job, like success in numbers isn't proving successful, which is like it's like kind of like it
It's
doesn't make sense.
counterintuitive.
But wait, okay, so now, yeah, and but let me now shit on
Okay,
Spotify. Well, not
we're
shit.
narrowing
I'm
it
gonna just
down.
bring
Okay, we're
we're gonna
sinking the
talk
Titanic
about
right
what
now. Okay, yes, let's do it.
we're going to talk about what Spotify is doing. Okay, so this is messed up because, for one, it was already messed up when, I don't know if you read about this. I forgot I think it was a ghost in the algorithm or something like that. A story broke out about Spotify. A journalist had basically investigated Spotify's behavior, right? And they found out that what Spotify was doing is they were, because their playlists were so successful, right? And they used to be curated by people on their team to find artists to, basically get artists to be heard by other people. And they would mix them with already successful artists, and they were a great way to be discovered on Spotify because people would save those playlists and listen to them all the time and find new artists by saving them, right? And so it basically, they realized that there's a business here and we can take advantage of that. And so what they started to do is they started to basically create music. They would have sessions with musicians. They would pay the musicians for all the rights of the music, and they would be like, "I want you guys to make a song that sounds kind of like this song. Like for example, like New York by Jay Z. I want it to sound kind of like New York by Jay Z, but not really. All right." And then so Spotify would have a shell company pay for that, right? And then they own the rights, and Spotify is in cahoots with this like shadow corporation or little company that is recording these songs. And then they would put those songs, they would tell the people that were curating the playlist, you have to put this song in your playlist, right? And so Spotify is creating songs that they own, putting them on their playlists, and then paying themselves the royalties for the streaming of those songs, right? And there's only so much money that they make every year. So they're taking part of that pot and giving it back to themselves. So that is uh, taken to the next level by AI, because now what they're doing is they're using AI to make a song without the art. So now there's no artist recording the fake music that they're proliferating on their playlist. Now they're just going straight and using AI to make those songs. So there's no artist involved. There's no real music involved. It's just machines and money. And a lot of their playlisters that didn't like this, they got fired or they quit because they refused to do this. And so they would just hire people that would do it. You just get rid of the ones that say no, and you get a new person that's like, yes, boss. Even easier. It's like they don't even really have to think. They just kind of curate the playlist and update it with whatever Spotify is saying they have to update it with. So they're using these artists with clout to bring attention to their songs, which are fake songs by fake artists now, that make them money when they're streamed. So it's a racket. That is the definition of a racket when you are creating a business and a product that you are buying yourself and paying yourself to make. And why Congress allows it to happen, I think it's because they're all old. They don't even get it. It's like, what? I still listen to vinyl. I still listen to CDs or whatever. Like, I don't.
It's
My grandson loves his Spotify
it,
subscription or whatever. I don't know what they think, but it's like
it's
that. How is
insane.
that
It's
legal?
insane.
How is that legal?
And it's also delusional.
It's a
It's
racket.
delusional also because I realized this as an indie podcaster when the guy that the podcast place that I use for mostly getting guests on is Podmatch. And the guy that created the program, he was talking about how there are a lot of we use hosts, so RSS hosts, in order to get our podcast out online. A lot of them are
Yeah.
not as true as they make themselves out to be. So, turns out I used to be on Anchor, which is basically now podcasters for Spotify. And
Yeah.
I didn't know this. It turns out that Spotify had where you join their RSS feed, and in their contract, they own the rights to your podcast.
Yeah.
So that means that they could take your content future down the road and then reproduce it for whatever they want to reproduce it. I said, fuck this shit. I got off of there. I now use Captivate, which is locally owned and operated in the UK. They're my RSS host.
Nice.
And
Nice.
you wouldn't know this shit unless like somebody did the educated information like Alex to figure out exactly what is going on with these hosts. Like, they are not only taking advantage of actors and actresses, they're taking advantage of musicians and artists, but they're also taking advantage of podcasters. We don't even make money.
Everybody. I mean,
we don't even make money.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot of undersight and oversight. I guess it's both. It's just like people not looking and people kind of looking over what it seems to be a completely, unfair system. Um,
Right.
I think the art people like us that have to deal with it know. But like how do we get the general population to give a shit? Because for them, they're paying $15. You know what I mean? Like they're paying the $15 and that's going to Spotify and they just want their content. To a consumer, how do you explain the unfairness? It's like, well, I'm paying for it, or I have to hear ads. Like, it's not my fault, and it's not the consumer's fault. I think it's really on legislators and the company to, have morality. It really is. You can't blame people for purchasing something that is available to them if it's good for them as a consumer, you know? And so, it just, but there has to be some kind of medium point where people are just taking advantage of creators and people that make content and produce content of all forms. And I think there's a lack of money throughout all of that. Are you good?
No, it's just smoker lungs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Thank
Gesundheit.
you.
No, no, you're good, you're good. But
I
I
shouldn't be
think
coughing.
I think that kind of I was starting to trail off, so it's okay. That actually brings me back. It's just like, it's unfair. I don't know how else to square it other than it's
Well,
unfair.
the thing that you realize, right, and we don't really talk about her because, she's been dead for so many years, is Whitney Houston. And I think Whitney Houston is like the greatest example of this, where they find journalists, you have articles, they find ways of like twisting her story, well, she didn't make some of her famous hits, she didn't write the music, so she didn't really like, it's not really her song, like, and it's daunting because here you have a woman that went through abysmal hell, struggled mentally and physically for years on end, worked her freaking butt off, abused by producers, abused by her own label, abused by her fellow like abused by every single person, found up dead in a pool. And her memory is just just whiplash of just bullshit on top of bullshit. And it's like, she died how many years ago? And look what the fuck they did to her. Imagine the kind of shit what they're doing to people now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what people end up like, what happens to a lot of artists nowadays, because it used to be, you would get a piece of paper to sign as an artist, a young artist, and you would maybe read it, but if you read it, you knew you were giving away all your rights, right, to the music, and you were just kind of like you were owned by these labels, right? And but then, right, you would do that, and if you were good, you would make a lot of money, the label would make a lot of money, and you would become famous, right? It was like
The
ping
Bruce
ping pong. Like
Springsteen story.
if you know
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
doing and you're a good artist, like Led Zeppelin too, actually they're a very rare version. I don't know if you saw that there's a new movie about them called Becoming Led Zeppelin on Netflix. I highly recommend it. It was very, very good. But I didn't know fully, and I've read books about this and stuff. I was a huge Zeppelin nerd in high school, like crazy. I love their music. And so I didn't even know this, that they wrote their first album, and they got, because they were so successful, and maybe it was the second album that this happened with, but I think it was the first. They were so successful and people liked them so much that they had the leverage to be like, look, so you get to put your name on this, but we own the rights to the music. So they're one of the first, bands from back then to own their own music. But like, you know, that was not common, and more common than not, someone would shark you in, because you think about it, the music business, it started as a con artist thing. It's like musicians never really needed managers, really. Like they kind of do, but it's like it started with someone being like, you know what, there's money here, and realizing that they could take advantage of this person that felt like they needed them. And I feel like we've never really gotten past that stage where it's kind of like a little bit mafioso. It's like a little bit like you sign here and then make you a star, baby. It's like and people would sign away, but then they would become stars, some of them, right? Nowadays, what happens is you get this 360 deal, right? And they only give you that deal if you already have millions of people watching you on TikTok or whatever, and you're like taking off on a social media app. And they don't want to give you any money except to maybe record the music and maybe go on a tour, but you are liable for all of that money. And then you go on tour, and you have all of these fees, and all, especially with Live Nation and Ticketmaster, you have all these fees on top of playing there, that the people that go have to pay, and that brings down the amount of people that want to go. And then also you have to sometimes cut in a piece of your merch. And so at the end of the day, you usually don't make back the money from the album and the tour. And then what happens is you're in the hole. And if you're not still taking off on social media, they just forget about you. And then they own you. They don't allow you to record more music, and your project is dead. Depending on who signed. Like, what did you sign? Did you sign your name, or did you sell yourself,
Oh
or did
my
you sell your
god.
your artist your artist profile, kind of thing. Because if you sold yourself, for example, like you're basically kind of their puppet forever, and they can do whatever they want with you or do nothing with you ever, and you're basically their, you're theirs.
It's
And so
so cutthroat.
I think people need more, yeah, people need more understanding of what they're signing. But I think a lot of that, the reason people sign now without really thinking about what they're doing, is because it used to mean so much more when you signed. And now it doesn't mean a goddamn thing. It doesn't mean, it just means you might end up in the hole and killing your project, and basically giving away the rights. So, that's, I mean, for one reason, I'm not signed because I'm not super famous or very well known, which is, I like to just make music because I want to make it, but in the end, like, I wouldn't want that. I would want to own everything. I want it to be mine. Like, there's a freedom to just making what I want. It's like, I don't care.
There's
Um,
also there's also
yeah.
a level of freedom where when you're able to make your own music, when you're able to be your own artist, and I think the greatest example of this is like Pink Floyd, right? When
Mm,
is it John
mm.
Waters? I'm trying to remember. Uh
Roger
Roger
Waters.
Waters, thank you. When he
Yeah.
talks and he explains the journey that he went through, on when they were creating Pink Floyd and the music that they made. Because let's be honest, like, some of the Pink Floyd albums are a little hard to listen to. I own some of them.
Oh,
They're a little hard to listen to.
yeah, a little bit. Adam Hartmother, super nice, smooth Sunday album. Let me just
Oh my
crack
god!
this on and
But
and have a nice thought. Yeah.
I think that is the beauty of Pink Floyd. They weren't trying to be famous. They weren't trying to be a part of a
Mm,
movement. They were just being Pink Floyd. And
mm,
I think we forget that a lot these days. Is that some of the artists that we remember, some of those that like even John Longfoot, Lightfoot or Longfoot. I
mm.
never can remember his name. Like people like
Grab my water. Wait,
it. Just
I'm right here.
it just
Grabbing my
it
water.
just feels like it's not just being able to be famous. It's not being able to get an audience. It's being able to create something that is memorable. I think that's why music is so important to people. We have memories
Mm,
that are around music. We have moments
totally.
around music. They've shaped
Yeah,
our lives a lot of the times.
yeah, yeah. They make us. Music is what makes us who we are a lot
Yeah.
of the times. It's a huge integral part of our own personal
Like Highway
identification
to
of who
Hell
we
by
are.
AC/DC. That's the story of my life. I'm on a highway to hell. Da-da-da.
Damn, I'm sorry. Yeah. Every time you're on I-95,
Yeah,
that's what you're
every
thinking.
time. Every time. I gotta put it on. I have a Mustang, so like I gotta
Oh,
put it on like
oh
full
no.
blast.
Yeah, you gotta put down the
Yeah.
windows and go
And the
full
top.
blast
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
3 mile per hour wheel bumper traffic.
Which, by the
You
way,
know,
if people don't understand this, like
90
this
degree
is
heat.
every other hour. So like in South Florida, like
Yeah,
around the
yeah.
summertime, like there's every other hour's traffic. So you're driving and you're like la la la
Yeah.
la, like holy
No.
shit. You're like crunching down on those brakes, and then like 20 minutes later, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Soft,
it's also
Papa.
very aggressive. So like moving out here, I do
Oh,
drive out
LA is
here.
crazy.
I shipped out
LA
my
is
car when
fucking
I moved.
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but people are not as like there's assholes everywhere. All right. There are nasty drivers everywhere, but it's not like Miami because I grew up there and people are scary. Like driving on the highway in Miami is scary because everyone's playing chicken. Everyone's like,
They're not even
either
looking.
you're not going to get in my way or else I'll hit you, or it's like, or you're not going to hit me because you're too scared to hit me, and they just do it anyways. Like you're about to hit them and they keep going with it. They're just like, okay, I don't care. Hit me. Come on, do it. Or, get in my way,
I,
sure.
I joke.
I think in California, I've noticed people are
That's
more
so shocking.
like when I honk, when someone's about to cut me off, they go back. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I
Hmm.
never would see that in Miami. I always expect them to just do it
Oh
anyways
no,
while
I
you're
would take
honking.
LA.
They're just
I
like,
would take LA over Miami any day. Like I'll take New York over Miami
that's
any.
New York driving
It's
is
insane.
scary.
But
It's
I
different.
grew
It's block to block traffic.
and especially when you're on the inners, like the thing about like the parkways and like the Garden State
Mm,
Parkway, like there is no slowing down, okay? There's none of this bullshit of like figuring out where you're getting off the left lane. No. No, you do that shit, you're getting in an
yeah,
accident. And like I joke about this shit, like
yeah.
if you take people from South Florida and you put them in Boston, okay, or anywhere in Massachusetts,
Hmm.
I promise you the amount of car accidents on those highways, because in Massachusetts, they don't stop. Okay? Like if you in
Yeah,
the middle or the left lane and you're going 40 miles an hour, they're not slowing down. They got great insurance, okay?
yeah,
They know how to scam
yeah.
the auto insurance companies over there. So they got great insurance. They're not afraid of you. They'll slam right in there. They're like, I need a new Honda Civic anyway. Like, oh my God. It's just like, man, the fucking, like, the culture, I'm serious. Like, the whole story of the Florida man, like, Gator Country, all that shit. Like, I thought that was all myth. And then I move out here and I'm like,
No,
these people live
it's even
in
worse.
Delululand, okay? Like they live
I mean,
in Gotham City. They live in another reality.
yeah, two people, there are two, yeah, well, two people have had their face eaten in Miami in two different occasions by different people on bath salts. Like that is all you need to know about Miami. It will happen there. If you think people wouldn't do that, they will most definitely do it. They will do anything. You will find any sort of crazy mishap in Miami. I think I don't know if it's just the heat, makes people
The
crazy.
Gators.
It's also got like this whole Vice, the Gators, it's got this Vice City, background, and I think that's never really gotten out. It's always had this like this mythology of being like a lawless place where anything goes. It's like just shy of Las Vegas kind of Sin City vibe. Just shy of it. It's just more I would say even more Latinos than Las Vegas,
The
even though I'm
cool
sure it's
thing,
full. I've been a couple times. I know it's full of Latinos
the
too,
cool
but
thing though, I like
you
about
know.
Las Vegas, like honestly, over South Florida, is like persis- specifically when we're dealing with the adult entertainment scene. It's a lot more prevalent in
Mm.
Las Vegas. It's actually one of the largest hubs,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I've never been to Las Vegas, but the people I've met and the people that I've spoken to and the things that I've seen, it's very respectful out there. It's like everybody has their warehouse,
Mm.
they have their cameras, there's no kids. If like school is out, like nobody's taking out any naked bullshit. Like everybody's respectful, you know? And I kind of
Mm.
appreciate that too, because like, hey man, we're all adults, right? We all got needs and
Yeah.
shit. But at the same time,
I'm
I'm
just
just
working.
working. I'm just
Yeah.
working. Like there's kids
Yeah.
going around the streets. All right, we're not gonna take out any of the plastic dolls from Tokyo. Okay, we're gonna leave them in the station
Yeah.
wagon in the back. Leave it for later.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. My pillows, my body pillows stay at home, okay? Yeah.
how many body pillows? That's the question. It's like how many can you fit? It's like 6.
Too many.
I know.
Too
I
many, yeah.
know. And they keep coming.
Who needs a bed anymore?
Just
You just
thinking,
sleep on body
yes.
pillows.
Oh my god. No, but you know what though? Like I get it. It's like it's no shit or anything. It's like being able to find your community. Because I think that's something that gets lost a lot of the times is being able to
Mm.
collaborate. You know, like you
Mm.
said, it's where you
Mm.
have these organizations that are taking advantage of people anyway, right? So if the only thing left that we
Mm-hmm.
have as people is people, because like it's just humans against machine at this point. Doesn't it make more sense if we kind of band together instead of like doing it on our own? Because I feel like the more we try to like
Yeah. I
separate,
think
like
I, I really, yeah. I think that's the most important thing. Something that I always, took pride in and was always, something that I thought, but especially when I was in the local scene in Miami, is, we bring each other up. Like, you got to support the people that are doing the thing around you because, it's only together that you guys build something. If everyone is kind of infighting and, trying to be better than everyone and, not really building something, it's like you're screwed, man. You're screwed. You can't do it on your own. Especially not without like it's all about money. It's all about money and it's all about power. And we get that by collaborating and working together as a community, and I'm a huge fan of collaborating. As you know, I just released a song. Well, Leah just released a song and I helped
I
her work
know
on it.
she's
I
talking
produced
about
it.
it.
I recorded it. Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah, yeah. But it was
it's
really fun, and
amazing.
I love working with Leah. Leah's amazing,
She's
honestly.
amazing.
She's a golden human
And you
being.
know
Yeah,
what? Like
totally.
I was gonna say this earlier. You and her, like the prime example of this. Okay, like I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal. How many podcasters do you
Mm,
know are viciously going out and trying to find independent, underground, indie artists? Like, I've seen a lot of podcasters around in my sector that don't do the shit that I do. And it's like they're all running after like the
mhm.
big dog in Atlanta, the big dog in Chicago and all that bullshit and all that jazz. And I'm like, the shit that you do, like the fact she was like telling me, like even being able to do that over from LA and going back and forth, that's the
Yeah.
kind of shit that takes survival. Okay, because you're so used to being like in that
Thank you.
right small. You just gotta survive. You
Thank
gotta figure out how to make it work. Like if we're
you.
doing it over fucking Zoom, we're
Yeah.
making it over fucking Zoom. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how that happened was I actually didn't know I was going to move when I first
Oh
started
shit,
working. Like
I did
Leah and
not know
I
that.
had agreed we wanted to work on it. Yeah, yeah, actually, like basically an opportunity popped. I was trying to move and I was trying to find a place out here, and an opportunity popped up out of nowhere that basically took me off guard. And I had like 2.5 months to get ready. And so, it was
Oh
just
my
like
god.
it was insane because I basically I told Leah and I was like, "What do you want to do?" She was like, "Come over and we'll record me and we'll just do it." And it was a really lovely experience. I recorded her vocals and her guitar. She had a ukulele there and I played a little ukulele and and did some backups there. It started raining around the end of the
Of
session,
course.
so she was like, "Oh, it's raining," and I was like, "We're gonna record that right now." And so you hear the rain, and that's actually the rain that happened right after we finished recording everything. And so, it just kind of giving that ambience. I love picking it like I don't know if you've heard my first album, but my first album, Sun and Moon, I recorded when I was between the ages of 15 and 17. I was in high school. I was in like 2011 through 2013 or so, and it released in 2014. Um, and I lived in this really nice house in Miami, and it was we had high ceilings in the living room, and so I recorded everything at home. So I think for me, I love folk and I love acoustic music, but I love capturing like the essence of a place. And I feel like it was great to go to Leah's house because it gave me a chance to kind of capture her home essence. And like I think she felt very comfortable. So there's this other edge to recording at home that you can't get in a studio because studios can feel so cold and
This gal,
very
she
like
came on.
bump bump bump
Okay,
bump
if
bump.
you like, dude, she had all the candles on from like the staircase to like by the time like the lights went off,
Oh my
like
goodness.
her background was just
Yeah,
like flame essence glow
yeah,
and up. And I'm just like sitting there and I'm
yeah,
just like,
yeah. Her home is lovely, honestly, and her and her
I
new
know.
husband. Congrats, Leah, if
Crazy.
you're listening. But I mean, they're such nice people, and it was a very comfortable time, and so basically, Leah, after that. Uh, we recorded everything. She was super happy with what we captured. We recorded everything that she does that day, right? Like so one day, like we got it, kind of thing. And then she hit me up and she was like, like I kind of want like a little bit more here. I want it to like be build a little more. I want some extra
Yes, Leah.
lines on the guitars.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, all right, I
It's
pull out the mic and I record myself in my little. I live in a little studio, which I'd show you if it wasn't a total complete
that's
fucking
okay.
mess right now. But I don't want you to
We'll
see.
leave it to our
And so,
imagination.
and so yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a messy bed, unmade bed. I was just recording something, so there's two mics just hanging out in the
Life
middle
of
of
an
my,
artist.
it's a
Yeah.
mess here. Life of an artist, and everything is. I think for me, at least, how I work, it's very spontaneous, unfortunately, and fortunately. I mean, I guess fortunately, I'm able to capture myself in those moments, sometimes. But for me, art is always very spontaneous when it's going to be good. I can't really plan when I'm going to feel like I want to make something. I just have learned to give myself the space to, just do it, on a weekend. Like if I like right now before we did this, I was like writing a song, and it's like I just felt like it, and I'm working on some well, it's not really top secret because
Ooh.
I guess I can talk
Ooh.
about this. I'm working on what I think will be my fifth album. So what's crazy about that is that I'm almost done recording my third album, which I will also mix and master. It's called Nebula, and I think it sounds great. It's very different from everything else I've released so far. A
You're
lot more mature,
yeah,
I think.
something I want to throw
Um,
out there. You're gonna notice that Brennan is very
yeah.
much celestial, very up, very
Oh,
much up in the
thank you.
universe.
Yeah.
Especially with the naming and the design patterns and stuff. I'm like, all right, this man really loves stars and the universe, and you do, you do. Like, and I think it's really cool
Yeah,
because like there's
yeah,
something
yeah.
really cool about
Thank you.
astrology.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, I think there's so much to outer space, and it's really where we come from. In the end of the day, we are, as Carl Sagan would say, I'm a Saganite. I love Carl Sagan.
I don't blame you.
He would say we are space dust, or we're made. I don't know if that's a direct quote. Maybe he said we're made of space dust, or did he say we are space dust? Anyways, the point being, we are made of actual space dust, that as everything is, stardust, I mean. So I think. I have this very artistic inclination towards that concept of stars and nature. I love nature. Um, Even though I am a city boy, I do love chasing after this idyllic nature fantasy thing. I grew up listening to a lot of Devendra Banhart and Animal
You
Collective,
should go up to
and Fleet
you should go up
Foxes.
to San Bernardino. There's like if you go up in that
Mm,
area, they have like more of like the mountain trails and the stuff. LA is like
yeah,
people do not understand this, and I remember that
yeah, it's a
it's
city.
weird. It's like one place is a city, the next minute you're in a forest, the next second you're in a desert, and then the next
Yeah.
second you're in snow.
You got everything here, and then the beach is over.
Yeah,
You got a couple
yeah.
beaches too. You have all, yeah, every part of nature
Is
is like a
literally in one
few 30 minutes
place.
away from
It's
each other. Yeah,
bananas. It makes
yeah,
no sense.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it is very true. I still have to break into the local nature scene, and it's just time. I think like I'm just barely settling in, and so I got to meet more people, find opportunities to kind of like you really shouldn't go hiking alone, for example, because there's like wild cats and shit
No,
like
you
that
should
that will kill
not.
you. So it's not safe. Yeah, you really should be going with a buddy at least. And so
Somebody.
it's like yeah, yeah, I really do hope to explore that part soon too, but I think my biggest thing has been I just get recommendations from people or online, and I love going to restaurants. The food scene out here is amazing. It really is. But I realized I kind of cut myself off
Mm.
there because I was going to finalize that thought, that so I have a fourth album in the works as well that I'm also writing. But that one is like it's like heavy and dark rock, very intense, um, uh, completely different
Are
from the other, from my
are
third
you having
album,
like a
and also very different from this fifth album that I'm
okay,
working
so this is
on.
how my brain is processing this. So it's kind of like it's like the Velvet Underground. You
Yeah.
get like the first album with the Velvet Underground and Nico, and then the second one, which I think is White Light, White Heat, or something like
hmm
that.
hmm
So it's like
White Heat. I think it
yeah,
is White
is
Heat.
it like
Yeah.
that? Is it like from like we got like the Velvet Underground, Nico, like for the third album, and then
In a way,
we
yeah.
got like the second album, which was just like what? Yeah,
Yeah, in a way, I am kind of like I love the concept of duality, and I think that every one thing is two, and I think my duality is I am very chipper and sweet and
yeah,
kind, but I also I brood. I'm very broody. I'm actually a quarter Irish, right? So I have that darkness of the
you
old
have the
timey,
Guinness, you have
you
the
know,
Guinness gene.
yeah, yeah, like the old country kind of like very dark, sinister, very like wry and dry and broody. I have that side to me as well, and so I feel
Yeah,
like this fourth album I'm working on is very much exploring that. But then now what I'm working on now is I'm working on all three at the same time, which is funny. But this new one is all acoustic, and so I really want to make another acoustic album, very similar to the vibe of my first album in a sense, but just like a lot more grown up. And I want to make it, you know, as natural sounding as possible, acoustic stuff. I'm starting to consider arranging some strings for it so I can record maybe a little, a quartet or something while I, to add
Get a
some
viola
depth to
in
things so
there.
it doesn't feel too
Yeah.
simple. Yeah, yeah, no, the cello, viola, violin, double violin kind of thing. It's like I love arranging music. I love like putting together ideas. I love strings in general. But so I actually what I'm doing is I'm putting that music as I'm working on it from that album on SoundCloud. So this fifth album, it's technically already out there, and I have like the first demo versions of a couple of songs kind of just sitting there. And I'm gonna be updating it as I go.
Jesus.
I think that's the benefit of no one listening, really. It's like I have very few listeners. Like I get some listeners on SoundCloud. I will say that algorithm works a lot better for me. But especially compared to Spotify, which is like, man, like they're not trying to get you discovered. Like unless you kind of like break through somehow on social media, no one's gonna find you on
No, and I mean,
Spotify. Like you got to do the work
I
yourself.
found
Yeah.
out, that YouTube was basically hiding my content. And it's primarily because of the topics and the people that I talk to. So I decided to move on to Rumble and Substack. Guess what? My numbers jumped up like
Wow.
crazy. And
Wow. Yeah.
I'm not like trying to put any hate. Like, I know that they use an algorithm and they do all that shit, but that's what they do. They limit people like us because we're unique. We have at least like originality. Like, holy shit. Like, I cannot even believe that's something that you have to even say. Like you're original.
Yeah.
You're not AI. You're not some like fucking Universal Productions, Warner
Yeah.
Brothers sandwich.
Yeah.
You know?
You're not a shill.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
know, that
Yeah.
that in itself is threatening because that means that they're
Yeah.
no longer in control. And like we were saying, like, you're dealing with people that they're dying out. They're old. They don't want to lose their position. They don't know what the hell is going on. They want to buy their next Bentley, okay? They need to get their next Bentley. They need to get their Mercedes for their grandchild. A lot of
Yeah.
car references.
Yeah.
My
They
apologies.
need a bigger yacht.
A much bigger yacht.
Their last yacht.
Three
Yeah, their
floors?
last yacht.
3 floors.
They went to the yacht club, and this guy was talking about his three-story yacht. So they have to buy a four-story yacht. I mean, are you kidding me? What are they supposed to go back to the yacht club with the same yacht? Ridiculous. I mean, who is really suffering? Them,
Yeah, of course.
of
Of
course.
course. Who else is suffering?
In their two-story yacht. I mean, what are they supposed to do with only two stories? You can't even have a billiards room with a
No.
two-story yacht. Can you believe that? You need at least a third story to fit a
That is
billiards room.
unacceptable.
You
That is
know,
unacceptable.
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 I am willing to let them take all of my money if it means that they can get that billiard room on the third story, and then a movie theater on the fourth.
You lower it in with a crane.
That's all, that's why I wake up in the morning. It's like, how am I going to get Danny Eck richer? How am I going to get him? How am I going to make Daddy happy, and so that he can, buy himself nice
Oh
things?
god. It's
Um, it's like the reverse parental
it
support. It's like, I'm paying support to daddy.
it's it's wild
Um,
because if you look at even on the real estate side of it, right? Because I've met people like this. You'll have those people that will deal
mm,
with real estate, and they're all about the numbers, and they're all about the profit margins, and the da da da, da and the this and then you get like those real people
mm,
that like they literally sit down with you, and they're like, okay, what do you need? All right, you need something around this price point.
mm.
Okay, I got you. How many bedrooms are you looking for? Okay, cool. Are you open to maybe some options and stuff so we could figure this out? Cool. And they like figure out this whole plan for you and like take you from property to property, like figure out exact just that extra step of being like eye to eye, like we're in this together. That shows
Mm.
me that you're like passionate of what you do. Like, okay, you're really serious about like this is what you really do as a profession. It's like becomes so normal that people just do shit just because it's money. It's like, well,
Well, that's the developers in Miami. Let me just say that. Like that's literally they're throwing up buildings that are sinking at an incredibly fast rate just because. they're going to turn a profit very quick.
It's
Um,
stupid.
so, it's, well,
And it's
stupid or genius?
and
What
it's
can I
like you
say? I
keep
mean, who's stupid if they're winning?
and they're built. So here's the craziest
Yeah.
part, right? They've been building like since you've left, like they've been going crazy with it. They've been building like luxury apartment complexes everywhere, and they're empty.
Mhm.
Most of them,
They're
they're
empty. They're
empty.
empty. And they're getting emptier because of Trump, because of Trump, because of his policies, because of ICE, all this shit that's going on. I mean, I'm in LA, man. They're kidnapping people off the street every day. Uh, and that's going to start happening in Miami. I think I'm really sorry to say. I think that they're cracking down. Miami, they just voted to allow police to, basically cooperate with ICE, and that they are an arm of ICE. Same thing with state police. So it's like
By the way,
it's coming, man. Whatever's coming, it's
and by the way,
coming.
like a lot of people think like, oh my god, like majority of people are here illegal. There are a lot of people that are illegal, but believe it or not, like I've lived down here, and a lot of people that I've met that have immigrated here, they're legal. Some of them are waiting for their paper, like some of them are waiting
Yeah,
for their green card or in the process, or whatever. Some of them have already completed that shit.
and that's
Yeah,
yeah, and that those are the people they're going after. I mean, I think, sorry to start talking politics, but I think like, I don't even think this is politics. This is human. These are human rights. They're human rights. This is not politics. It's like these people, they wanted to do this shock and awe campaign showing hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants getting removed. And then they realized they couldn't do it because there are no records on these people. So how do they find them? Where are they? So okay, let's just go to Home Depot and just like pick apart from the ones that are there. If they're brown, shut it down. Literally, that's what they're doing. And they're just like picking up brown people. That's what they're doing. They're just looking around or hearing an accent or hearing you speak Spanish, and they're like, "Where are you from?" You know, um, that's
it.
racism, and that is technically illegal. It's
Well, the thing is,
discrimination, and
we've had a Latin. The people don't like. We've had a Latin community in this country for extremely long time, and it's like the
actually
Yeah,
longer than there's been a
yeah, yeah,
country. There was
yeah. Like,
Mexico.
and the fact also, like, the amount that we've gotten within the media industry, like, for example, with film, television, music that's come from the Latin community is insane. But at the same time, it's like, I am an American and I come from an immigrant family. I know a lot of immigrants. A lot of the people I know are here legally. Like, even people that come from Cuba,
Yeah,
a lot of them are here legally. They have legal papers. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
look, there are cases. My dad remembers people that came over here when they had the whole fiasco after Escobar was killed
Yeah.
in Colombia. So they escaped to the United States. So they had to wait a couple of years before they got their papers. So they were technically in this country legally for like 7 to 10 years. But again, man, like, I'm not, and vote like keep all illegal immigrants. Like, hell no. Like, if you're gonna live here, freaking be legal. Like, every country's like that. But like at the same time,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
don't treat
It's expensive.
it's
Yeah, it's expensive
expensive.
to become legal, and you know what else? Like what's scary, and what I was getting to is that what they started to do because they couldn't get the numbers from getting illegal people, that were criminals, which is what they said they were going to do. Now they're going after all brown people so that they can find the ones that are illegal, and they're going after legal immigrants that are working towards becoming legal. They are documented. They are documented people. If you have an immigration hearing, you're technically documented. You exist. That is the point of
Hmm.
documentation. You're not a citizen yet, but that's what you're literally working towards. It's like it's evil what they're doing, and it's all coming from this guy Stephen Miller. He's he kind of looks like Nosferatu, like a evil vampire,
Oh
literally. I've never seen him in the
my
sun. Let me
god.
just say that. Not for prolonged periods of time.
No.
I have seen him shed his skin,
Oh
though.
my
I'm pretty
god, like a
sure.
lizard. One of those lizard
I mean,
people from the
it's funny.
sewers.
Yeah, exactly. They were talking about lizard people. Well, now we just voted them
Oh
in, and
my
the lizard
god.
people are in the
But
office.
that's why
And
like
um,
I say this as like a libertarian. It's one of those where you have to be able to like shift your mind in politics, right? Where we both know how important like all these communities have been for America, like what has been able to shape the United States.
Mm,
It's not just the Latin community, it's the Asian community, it's
mm.
the Jewish community, it's the black community.
What is America?
It's
What is
all of these
America, man?
communities.
It's
It's all of
immigrants.
these communities. It's
Immigrants.
immigrants, yeah, and it's all these people coming together over hundreds of years, creating incredible fucking shit, like down through the yard. And this idea of like we've become so separated and so isolated from one another, it's just ridiculous, man. It's like,
Yeah.
so what?
It's on
I
purpose,
know it's
man.
on purpose.
It's on purpose.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, yeah. They want us to separate. They want us to have these little squabbles about social issues so that we don't consider the fact that they're taking away our rights or reducing them or, taking away like funding for health care or child care or city,
What
ordinances
healthcare?
like building roads and like, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I
like
mean,
what healthcare?
it's it's all in the playbook, and I think that right now we're seeing the culmination of a conservative playbook that has been playing out for many decades. um I mean, I think
It's not
I think
just
been in place since
it's not
Nixon,
just it's
pretty
not just
much.
conservative, and I don't think this is a conservative problem. What I think it is, it
Mm,
has to do with
mm, mm.
really, really greedy corporate people, whether liberal or conservative,
Oh, good.
that have figured out a way of
Yeah.
rigging the system for a plethora of amount of years. And they figured out a way that if you
Yeah.
divide people and you separate and you segregate, okay? We didn't get rid
Mm,
of Jim Crow. We didn't get rid of segregation laws in the country. We just rewrote them, okay? What do you call
mm,
Pittsburgh? What do you call the shit that's going on in New York City right now? Like, this is textbook
mm,
segregation in its finest. And like you were
mm,
talking earlier, a great example of that also segregation of like literally separating the artists and then replacing them with machines. So then there's a line now. It's like machines are our profit maker, no
mm.
longer the actual human being.
Yeah.
It's like wait, you can't rewrite like history to fit your own like freaking narrative. Like there's people that are actually
Well,
involved
they're taking humans out of, yeah. They're taking humans out of the equation
completely.
completely. Yeah. I will push back that I do still blame conservatives because it's conservatives because they call themselves conservatives. But to be a conservative in America really means that you're socially conservative, but you're fiscally liberal, right? Which means that your idea of a free market and capitalism being free, unreined by, by the government, that is more important than anything. So it's really the conservative mindset that has put us in the place where capitalists are able to basically run everything. I think Citizens United, which was voted in by a Democrat, or passed during a Democrat during Obama, how I see it, it's like, he really thought potentially that because at that time, I don't know if you remember when Obama was president, what corporations were doing is they were playing the good guys. They were like, oh, we're pro equity, we're pro equality, everyone should get paid fairly. Yes, 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 we
Yeah.
care about
Hmm.
society. And Obama thought, I think maybe deep down, I don't know if all of it was about money, but I think he truly thought that, you know, it was in corporations' best interest to protect democracy and, a more liberal democracy where people could speak their minds and they didn't have to be socially segregated, like you're talking about, that we can all live freely together and, capitalism can happen at the same time. But what we've gotten instead are these crazy man babies that run these giant corporations that are too big to fail, realizing that they are the oligarchs of our society and propping up people like Trump, and supporting him because in the end, it benefits these CEOs that are making, and the boards that are making insane
But
profits.
that's
Same thing with the people in government. They're like people trading stocks, right before collapse because they know
no.
that the president is going to
And
change this law
yeah.
or that law or incorporate this new, executive order. That should be illegal. How can you say that, someone with insider information that is in Congress is like it's supposed to, like, Martha Stewart went to jail for that shit. But you've got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and even Stephen Miller making millions of dollars off of their insider information, and it's fine because they are the insider.
Well,
You know, so
it's
they're so inside that it's okay. It's
it's
like,
crazy though, because here's the twisted side of it, right? Where in order to get any possible type of change, you need to be able to have somebody crazy to be at the helm, because let's be honest, like in my personal view, like presidents are just puppets. They're just fancy dress puppets. The real people that are behind those teams are their cabinets. It's the people that are running in the
yeah,
background. You
mm,
know,
totally. There's a huge thing to that. I always thought like when people would criticize Obama or
it was their
Biden or they
cabinet.
loved Obama or Biden, it's
It's
like
the
it's a team.
cabinet.
It's like they have a team of
Yeah.
people. It's not like the president does
No.
everything. He tells
He
people to
talks to
do stuff
people.
and then they
Yeah.
do it.
That's
You
it.
know, he talks to people. You know,
But
that's it.
when you get
Yeah.
somebody like, for example, like you get somebody like RFK, which, for example, I grew up in New York, and I remember when this was before I was born, but this was kind of a thing when I was growing up. They basically poisoned our water supply for like 40 years, and they didn't tell
Mm,
anybody. And then he blew
mm,
that like off the
wow.
lid. So then he had to like make it a public thing. It was on
Mm,
PBS, and then we were all told as a kid and
wow.
all this
Mm,
shit. He blew the lid on that crap. And like obviously there are things that he does that is pretty questionable, but there are other things that he does that no other person in his position has done before. And then you then ask yourself the question, hang on a minute. If nobody else has ever been able to do the same things he's done before, that means that they've been motivated. They've been given money to keep their mouths shut,
mm,
to allow them to keep on doing the
mm,
crap and the shit that they're doing. That's the fucked up part. It's like you need to have basically craziness to bring
mm.
in a little bit of normalcy, just slightly, just enough, just enough taste of the Manuka honey, from Erewhon, for $129. Here's a little taste.
Mm, mm, just a little taste. Yeah, man. I mean, on a positive spin, I think people are
Yeah,
realizing
they
this.
are.
People are starting to. I mean, I thought the No Kings protest kind of really showed how many people are against what's happening right now. I think this concept of a silent majority is ludicrous. There is no silent majority. They're just a very loud minority. I think most people are good people, are more liberal-minded people that don't really care if someone is gay or if they're trans or that what their ethnicity is. They just want to live a safe, affordable life, happy with the people that they love. That's pretty much what everybody wants, and most people don't think that they get that by bringing other people down,
No, and
and by mistreating
no, and
people,
you know what? The
you know.
saddest part is, like, even for example in the gay community, the amount of separation and
Mm,
isolation that exists, like especially around the trans community. Like I've been the person, like I've met two trans people in my life. They were wonderful people. I had great experiences. Like, and it's just insane when people start adding all of this crap. And I just say, are you trans? Is this your problem? Okay, you're not. All right, so it's not your problem.
How
It's
does
not
it
your problem.
yeah, like how does it affect you? But I mean that's part of the whole thing because we were talking about divisions, like that's one of the main, it makes certain people uncomfortable and conservatives,
Most
really,
trans,
mostly
mo-
conservatives, even though there are
most real
also
trans people,
people on the
m-
Democrats
most
side.
real trans people are
Yeah.
some of the most respectful people you will ever meet. They're
Oh,
not
totally.
they're not.
I mean, they're
Yeah,
just
they're just
people,
people.
man. There's assholes
Yeah.
too, but it's like they're people, and I don't think that they should be, put on a different pedestal just because they're different. And but I think people that want to separate us and divide us, and have a squabbling between each other on social issues, what they're really doing in the dark is taking away our rights, all of us, and fucking us in the back, stabbing us in the back, fucking and stabbing us in the back. That's a way worse. It's like someone stabs you and then fucks you from behind. It's like that's what I feel like a lot of politicians are doing right now, and they're benefiting from it at the same time. They're getting paid to stab you and fuck you in the back.
There's
And it's like, what?
the libertarian slogan is "Don't tread on me." And that line is the like example, like being stabbed in the back. It's like, hey, listen, motherfucker, don't tread on me. It's like I drew the line.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and my mentality on this crap is simple as this: is like, if I live in a community, this is a place that I live. This is a place that I care about. I don't give a shit about what the government is doing. If you're affecting my community, my place where I'm living, I will fight you tooth and nail. You come to my door and you threaten me, I will shoot you in the face point blank. End of story. You know, like there's no because like
Uh,
again, my mentality is that we live in a place that is a melting pot. We should be focused on our communities, the places that we were living, the stuff that inspires us, the stuff that makes us feel alive as individuals. All this other shit can go out the door. I don't give a I You know
mm,
what? The more you start questioning and analyzing people, the less you get to enjoy being around other people. It
mm,
feels very
yeah.
un-American, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, I think that America, the whole concept is in question right now because really what I think what it started was it's a big conversation about democracy. And that's what started this, beautiful idea for a country, which is, that we are all immigrants and, people aren't persecuted here for who they are and they're allowed to be themselves. And, I think those are huge hallmarks of what America is supposed to be, and through education and through time, we've learned that the people that originally started this country, what they thought determined personhood was not necessarily accurate. And everyone's a person, everyone's a human being, everyone has the same level of authority and should have the same level of authority over their own lives, and should not be persecuted. And I think we've lost a lot of that sense, unfortunately. Um, but maybe it was never there. Maybe this is just the best we've got so far. We've got cameras now and we can see how intense some opinions are. Social media also amplifies the worst of the worst, I think. Not very long ago, Facebook was probably because they used to be super blue and very, like, oh, we're super, we're against hate speech and we're going to limit all of this stuff. And I think then they realized their money start making money. It's like, no, 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 we got to bring back these crazy lunatics. And actually now Mark Zuckerberg admitted it, that they're making fake people, bots themselves, AI bots to become part of the social media landscape. And his thinking is like everyone needs 15 friends. That's how many people we need in our lives to keep us like you know
I I
interacting with their platform.
I don't know.
What a
I mean,
coincidence. And so
I like genuine.
they're inserting people that aren't real.
I
What,
like
sorry?
genuine relationships with people. That's the thing, you know. I don't think it's about. I think it's quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity. Yeah, yeah, totally. But Mark doesn't agree with that.
No,
All he's ever wanted is
I
friends. Poor
mean,
dude.
he's got a hot
And so
Chinese wife. So what do you want from him? And he makes hot babies. So.
well, no, I don't know. I've heard some stuff. Maybe they're not so close
Oh
anymore.
really?
So who knows?
Oh, poor Zuck.
I don't know. So there's some speculation that that's why he's going MAGA. He's going MAGA Mark, which is what the people from Facebook internally are calling
You know
him,
what?
MAGA Mark now.
You know what's wild?
Um,
Like a lot of libertarians, including myself, like
uh,
we get labeled as MAGA for some very strange reason because people think
mm,
like the second you put liberty in front of something, like, oh my god, you're one of the. And I'm like, listen, man, I come from a place of logic. Okay, like I come from a place like as if it's in my 20-mile radius, got you. Anywhere
mm,
outside of there,
mm,
I don't
mm.
care. Like, I don't give a damn what. Like seriously, I don't give a damn what happened in Atlanta. If like Atlanta burned down tomorrow, I don't give a shit. I don't live in Atlanta. It's not my problem.
Um, yeah.
I.
Well, I hope everyone from Atlanta's good. I'm gonna knock on some wood. But I guess um, no, I lost train of thought. But maybe we should get off politics.
No, you know what? I
For
think it's important, and because it
okay.
does tie in to especially with artistry, right? Because a lot of
Mm. Well, art is inherently political.
oh yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of the times. But I think it also has to do with
Well, yeah, maybe not club
It's,
music, but
that's a whole different story.
maybe not club music.
But when
Yeah.
you're making when you're making music, you're taking your life, your external experiences, the stuff that's going on around you, and that's kind of going through the juices, going through the flows as you're creating. And I think that's a really important part of it. I think like one really great way of knowing an artist and their music is to get to know the artist. Like if it's politics, it's politics, if it's comic books, it's comic books, if it's about outer space, it's about outer space. I think all of those things is what makes you you. You know what I mean? And like I think me and you, we agree on a lot of things, not only just as artists. And I think that like just showcases being open, not closed, being open, being aware, being okay with being vulnerable. These are really, really important things to have.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been a nice time chatting with you. So, thank you again for having me. This is great. Second time.
My pleasure, my man. Um, question for you, like we did the last time. I know you got your website, you got all your stuff, that's everything that's on there. Um,
Yeah.
Social media, where can these people find you?
Cool. Well, yeah, you can find my website at brennanjoshua.com. I'm on Instagram, I'm Brennan and the Sun. Um, but you can always find me through Brennan Josso. You can find my name on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Um, SoundCloud. You can check out that little EP that I have. I have 2 songs right now that are in the works that I'm releasing things as I'm working on them for that new album. And there's gonna be more. Who knows what
I
it'll end up
know.
being. So I'm gonna be around, and I'm gonna keep making music. I hope I can work with Leah again soon. We're already talking about, oh, maybe there's something new. So I'm very happy about how the song "Hello Claire" came
Oh, it was
out,
amazing.
and so thank you so much. So I'm gonna keep writing. I'm gonna keep working on stuff.
I think that's all.
So yeah, I'm
I
gonna
think
be
that's
around.
awesome, man. And like I remember a while back you were doing some music also in Spanish, which I thought was like really cool.
Mm.
Uh,
I'm Mexican, so
yeah, and I thought that was like really amazing because like it
yeah.
kind of felt like a little ancient. It felt like a little modern. It felt a little like meditative at the
Mm.
same time. I think that's the best thing, honestly, is just to keep on going, just try to throw as much creativity as you possibly can. And a lot of times, you do land on the gold mine, be able to find like the balance, right?
Well, I think unfortunately the gold mine now in music, it's very questionable if there's any gold there.
Your own
But
gold, man.
I guess I haven't been doing it for the money. Oh, thank you. But I haven't been doing it for the money ever, and if money ever comes from it, I'm gonna be very happy. But I make music and art because that's what I have to be doing. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah,
other
no,
real
no,
reason. And if people like it,
no.
people like it.
What I meant like by gold mine, like honestly, like being able to hit like
Mm,
that, just like end of a treasure hunt. That just feeling of like you've
mm,
accomplished something that you're proud of. Like you feel like that level of success.
yeah.
That's something like is better than money. I know it's crazy because like rent, like money pays for rent and groceries and all that bullshit.
Oh yeah, in a lot of
But
ways.
that other
Yeah,
side of
yeah.
that,
Of course, yeah. I'm lucky I have a job, but yeah.
I'm looking.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I mean, I think as musicians need jobs nowadays. It's like there's no money. Very hard.
No,
I'm sorry.
no, no,
Didn't
no.
mean to
It's
interrupt you.
totally true, man. Like I'm right now working my way into the automotive industry. Like you just got to be able to figure out
Mm,
how to be able to balance that stuff. And you know what? Sometimes if you need to balance it, you got to balance it. It's just one of the many obstacles that get thrown at you.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally. I think we're all just doing the best we can. That's it.
100%, man. Well, listen, I gotta say, I appreciate you coming on like second time. Damn. Oh my god, it's been too long. Like
Thank you
I
for
feel
having
like
me.
it was like been like
It's been a
two
minute.
years since the last time we did this.
It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. 2023 is when I released all those singles, and I think that's when I
Yeah,
talked to
we
you.
I think it came out in November, if I'm not mistaken, or sometime around there.
Sometime around
Yeah.
then. I
But
think
again,
so.
man, thank you so much for coming on and like
Yeah.
sharing. And again, to anybody out there, if you want, check out Hello Claire. It is a fantastic song. It's amazing.
Thank you.
But anyway,
Congrats, Leah.
Congrats, Leah. Oh my god, she's a fucking legend. I hope she like.
I'm a legend.
I want to
She's
see
amazing.
her like on the
Amazing.
top, like on the very like just. We're gonna be alive to see that.
She's amazing.
I swear to God. Like universe, you hear me?
I hope so.
Ugh.
Yeah. You're putting it out there.
Trying.
Well, thank you for having me.
My pleasure, my man.
My pleasure.
Oh, before I forget, before we jump off, anybody out there, if you want to check out more of the podcast, you can find us at Lost in the Groove Pod. I will leave links and everything for Brennan below in the description box. And that, motherfuckers, catch you on the next one. All right, peace out.